Alright, let's play a quick game. Imagine you could double your email revenue overnight, adding an extra $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 per month. But you're only allowed to focus on one metric, just one number that if you optimize it will have the biggest impact on email sales. Which one will you choose? Open rates? Click rates? Conversion rates? I've asked this question to dozens of marketers, smart people, CEOs and CMOs of 8 and 9-figure e-commerce brands. People like me who read marketing books in their free time instead of touching grass. But none of them got it right. And the crazy part is that this metric is hiding in plain sight. But the brands who understand this, they are stacking cash like Pablo Escobar with an email list. Meanwhile, the rest are just celebrating their 60% open rate like it was a participation trophy. So here's what this matters. This one metric doesn't just tell you if your emails are performing. It predicts your future revenue, dictates how much you can spend on acquiring a customer, and it also prevents you from over-discounting and just throwing money away. And yet, 99% of brands are ignoring this metric. So what is it? That's what we're diving into today. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will never look at email marketing the same way. Let's get into it. For those new to the channel, I'm Matt Pirelli, and together with my team, we help 7 to 9-figure e-commerce brands scale their email marketing sales. So what is this email marketing metric that no one is paying attention to? Is it open rates? This metric tells if people are opening your emails, but you can't cash out open rates in the bank. I've tried. Or is it click rates? Click signal engagement, but again, not revenue. We could have a 10% click-through rate and still make no sales. Or is it conversion rates? Is it? Well, we're getting closer, but this ignores order value, average order value, and recipient volume. We could have a 5% conversion rate, but on a $1 item. But I would rather take a 2% conversion rate on a $200 item. So there's another metric that we're missing here, and that is very easy to overlook. And it's called revenue per recipient, RPR. And it's calculated simple as how much revenue an email generated in total over the amount of subscribers that received that email. So for example, if we generated $5,000 from an email that went to 5,000 subscribers, we have a $1 revenue per recipient. So now this metric tells a bigger part of the story. If you generate more money from the same number of recipient of subscribers, you're doing better. It's as easy as that. And here's what I love about this metric. We can further break down this revenue right here into 3 variables. Simply, the number of subscribers who received an email times the conversion rate of that email times the average order value that email had. So this is the cool part. Then at the bottom, dividing, we also have number of subscribers, right? From this formula right here. Well, guess what we can do here? Yes, for you paying attention, you can simply cancel out these 2 elements, and so you can calculate revenue per recipient simply as conversion rate times average order value. Let me show you an example. So let's say now we're calculating revenue this way. So we have again 5,000 subscribers. Let's say their conversion rate is just 1%, and let's say this email made them spend $100 on average. Beauty. And this, by the way, equals $5,000. So essentially we have the same $5,000 over 5,000 subscribers, just written another way. So we're gonna end up with the same $1 revenue per recipient. Or if you prefer, we cancel this 5,000 at the top, at the bottom, and we end up with 1% conversion rate times $100 average order value, and we end up again with a $1 revenue per recipient in this case. So this is beautiful. I don't know what you think. For me, this is just pure beauty in mathematical form. It's just something majestic, because this literally tells the whole email marketing story. This tells everything. If we go back here to the formula, we have conversion rate. Well, guess what? Open rate influence conversion rate. You have more people opening your emails, you have more people reading your emails, getting hopefully persuaded by your emails and buying. So you get more eyeballs, you get a higher conversion rate. You have higher click rates, you also have a higher conversion rate. You have more people landing on your website, hopefully reading the product page and buying. Then you have the actual conversion rate. If they are conviction building emails and they are really resonating with people, you will see conversion rates directly go up. Then if these emails are influencing people to buy more expensive products, then average order value goes up. So this literally unshackles us from that mystery that's in email marketing of how do we increase email sales. This literally shows you mathematically how to increase email sales. It's right here. I look at this and I respectfully get a stiffy, pitch a tent, raise the flag, go full oak mode, because it lets me and my team literally force email revenue up. If something is wrong, we will see this right away. So this right here lets you scale. You know, most people with email marketing focus on growing their email list. And of course, that is a must, that is needed. But bigger doesn't mean better. Am I right, fellas? For example, a 1 million email marketing list with a 5 cents revenue per recipient is worse than a 100,000 subscriber list with a 50 cent revenue per recipient. This one right here is way more efficient with their email marketing, and it's also paying 10 times less its email marketing software every month. So instead of just looking at the big number, email revenue, this metric forces you to extract as much revenue out of the list that you already have, so that you can start making money without having to rely on a bigger audience. This literally forces you to create better emails. Emails with a higher open rate, click-through rate, conversion rate, and that drive more average order value. So then this allows you to scale, because you can simply track one metric, revenue per recipient. If it's going up, nice. If it's going down, then that is something to worry about. Because what can happen is that one metric on its own might be going up, but the other are going down, so overall you're doing worse. And it can be really easy to overlook that unless you're looking at this one metric, that is revenue per recipient. If your revenue per recipient is rising, your email marketing revenue is improving. It's simple. So that is why revenue per recipient, in my opinion, is the great equalizer. So it's kind of like the DEI department of email marketing, if you will, except that instead of rewarding the lazy and punishing the top performers, it does the opposite. The second thing that I love about this metric is that it lets you benchmark. Benchmark against yourself and against the best. Because here's what I've personally witnessed by being in email marketing for over 5 years and talking with hundreds of CEOs and CMOs. Most of them have no clue how their email marketing compares to other competitors. But with revenue per recipient and with tools like Klaviyo, you can literally know how good or bad you're doing against your competitors. You can literally know how much does the 25% of brands generate per recipient, how much the bottom 25% generate per recipient. And you can also know the average. So this literally shows you how much room you have to improve. So let me show you an actual example now. If you go to the analytics section, click on benchmarks, and then for example, click on campaigns, and you get this last month view by default, you can see exactly how you're comparing to other peers. other brands in your same industry and about the same size as you, so it's an even playing field. You can see revenue per recipient, your value, and the median. In this case, our emails and our strategy are generating almost 5 times more sales than the median. And if you click here, detailed view, you can see how the bottom 25% performs, the median, and then the top 75%. For example, let's say your revenue per recipient was average and you were here. You can know that there's room for you to double your email marketing sales, and then you ask how. Again, you will focus on these metrics: conversion rate and average order value. Then more compelling, better emails, and have people spend more money. So this just gives you the brutal, raw, unforgiving numbers, like my bank account after a weekend at Vegas. And then you know exactly how much can you continue scaling. Can I double my email sales? Can I triple my email sales? Can I quadruple email sales? And how hard is it going to be? To double email sales, do I have to get to the top 75%, to the top 90%, 99%? This tells you everything that you need to know. So let's do an example now. Okay, let's say we send 10,000 emails. They have a 2% conversion rate, so 2% of recipients buy. Average order value is $50. Let's say that, just for example's sake, our cost of goods sold, our product cost 40% of average order value, so that is $20 in order in product costs. Then we will say that our operating costs are 10% of our average order value, including shipping, payment fees, all of that. So that equals $5 per order. So then our gross profit, which is the average order value minus the cost of goods sold minus the operational cost, equals 50 minus 20 minus 5, so $25. Our revenue per recipient, if you've been paying attention, it's conversion rate times average order value. So that is 2% times 50, so $1. So for every email subscriber that we acquire, we generate $1 in revenue. Now, we want to calculate the gross profit per recipient. So if each order generates $25 in profit and we have a 2% conversion rate, that equals to a 50-cent gross profit per recipient. So for every email that we acquire, we generate $50 in profit. So if this is our profit per recipient, then we should never pay anything more than this to acquire an email subscriber, if we want to break even on the first purchase. But that will be to break even. So let's say we want to achieve 30% profit margins. In that case, our max cost per subscriber will be this 50 cents times 0.7, which equals 35 cents. This means that, for example, if we add up all of our meta ad spend and calculate how much subscribers we got out of that, and it turns out to be 60 cents per email subscriber, then we know we will be losing money at least on the first sale. So this can be another nice secondary metric worth tracking for you. But there's also a fourth way that tracking revenue per recipient helps, and it's that it prevents you from over discounting, which is so typical in email marketing, and just literally throwing money away, which I really hate. So because discounting is a double-edged sword, because yes, it does boost conversion rates, but it also eats into your margins and trains people to buy from you only when they have a discount. So it teaches and trains them to wait for sales to buy. So it's kind of like feeding a stray cat. You do it once and then that little bastard expects filet mignon from you every single night. So revenue per recipient helps you figure out how to offer treats without turning your customers into entitled freeloaders. Let me show you how. Okay, we have two scenarios, two different campaigns. In the first campaign, we sent 10,000 emails. It had a 2% conversion rate and a $50 average order value. So if we do the math, we know it generated $10,000 in sales. And our revenue per recipient in this case, average order value times conversion rate, it's $1. And our gross profit, let's say, is $5,000. Alright, cool, this is the first campaign. Then let's say we send another variation to half of the list. We send the same 10,000 emails, and in that campaign we offer a 20% discount. So we send 10,000 emails. Because of the discount, it had a higher conversion rate, 3%. Our order value went down because of the 20% discount that ate into this. And if we do the math, we know the total revenue is $12,000. So it's actually higher. And the revenue per recipient is also higher at $1.2. But here's the thing, our gross profit is only $4,800 versus the previous $5,000 that we had with the campaign that used no discount. So now we know another thing to pay attention to. Revenue per recipient can go up, but gross profit can go down if we over rely on discounts. Because there might be a case where instead of this $20 off that we use in this campaign, we offered just 10% off, for example. And rather than a 3% conversion rate, we got a 2.5 conversion rate. Our average order value was $45 because we ate less into our margins with this discount. And so our revenue per recipient was 1.12, lower than the campaign that used 20% off. But if we calculate the gross margin, we arrive at $5,100. So in this example, we're better off than the 20% off example, and we are better off than the no discount example. So there's always this sweet spot when offering discounts. This is why you have to keep in mind cost of goods sold when doing email marketing. And this is also another reason why I don't like relying on discounts to increase email sales, because it can be misleading. As you just saw, we increased revenue per recipient, but yeah, we're offering more discounts. This time we got away with a 10% discount. It actually increased profit. But what will happen next time that we do this? It will probably have less of an effect. And then the next time, and the next time, and the next time, revenue goes down, 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 and so does revenue per recipient. So instead, what we like to do here at Email Engineers with my agency, where I'm the founder and principal, what we like to do is just make better emails, increasing revenue per recipient by increasing conversion rate, by making better emails, and by improving average order value, by making people spend more money. And the way we do this is with a strategy that I call conviction building. And I have other videos where I break down this entire strategy and how it's all about stacking trust and desire, and trust and desire those are the most powerful forces there are. So we don't rely on discounts to get more sales. So we increase revenue per recipient the healthy way. We don't Buttocks up revenue per recipient. We don't BBL revenue per recipient. Rather, we force feed it with a healthy diet of just steak and potatoes. That's kind of like what conviction building does. And then finally, the question is, where exactly do I measure this revenue per recipient? Because there's revenue per recipient in campaigns, flows, and finally a general account-wide revenue per recipient. So it's critical that we measure the right revenue per recipient so we can make better decisions. Because if you track this revenue per recipient that is right here in your main Klaviyo dashboard, you might be misled. Kind of like trusting things that are biased. Yeah, she loves hiking, but she barely fits into the profile picture. So the best way to track it is on a campaign basis and on a flow by flow basis. So again, you will go to analytics, benchmark, and see your revenue per recipient, see how it's performing against the median. In this case, we're generating twice more revenue than our clients' competitors. So that is nice. And then if we go to the flow section, we can see a nice overview of revenue per recipient right here, which in this case, again, it's nice. So you can compare it to your peers, but then you can also see flow by flow. So for example, you select your welcome series, one of the most important sequences, and you see exactly how you compare to your competitors. Brands similar to you and most likely fighting for the same customers as you do. And then you can click this switch for a detailed view and see how the 75% percentile is doing and where exactly you rank. So you know exactly how much can you squeeze out of this. And you can keep track of this on a month by month basis, right? So we covered a lot today, and now you know the one email marketing metric that really matters: revenue per recipient. It's like the ultimate scoreboard for how good we are actually doing with email. If your revenue per recipient goes up and you're not over-relying on discounts, you're doing better. So what's next? Now that you know why revenue per recipient is king, you might want to know how to actually improve it. How to create emails with a higher conversion rate and with a higher average order value. And luckily for you, I've made a video that breaks down exactly that. It's called How to Create Emails That Sells. It's 23 principles that we use with a client to generate $2.4 million out of a tiny list of 11,000 subscribers in 2024. This was our retainer client with the smallest list, yet we still managed to generate millions out of it. And yes, you can guess the revenue per recipient was super high. And in this video, I break down exactly the 23 principles that we use to make that happen. So if you want to learn how to create emails with a 5 times, sometimes 10 times higher conversion rate, then watch this other video next. It's gonna be linked in the description of this video, or probably it's going to be appearing in the video now. See you soon.